પાસવર્ડ આપો. આ લાઈટ ક્યાંથી જાય એની? हेलो 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 તમારું કયું છે લેપટોપ નું નામ? તમારું કયું છે? તમારું નામ શું છે? હા, થોડો લાઈવ ટેલિકાસ્ટ ચાલે છે. થોડો આપણે જૂની ચર્ચા કરીએ. મને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ વધારે તમારા જાગ્યો, પણ મારે આ પૂરું કરવું પડશે. કયું છે નામ? નામ શું છે? કનેક્ટ કરું તો ત્યાંથી જૂનો કનેક્ટ કરું. સ્ટાર્ટ કરું. પબ્લિકને કનેક્ટ કરવાનું કામ કરું. બરાબર. अभी स्क्रीन शेयर
हमारे स्क्रीन शेयर करो, स्क्रीन शेयर करो।
पोस्ट करते करવું પડે એવું છે. હા, you are the host. Okay. Yes.
સાચું તમને પેલી સ્ક્રીન ઉપર કન્ટિન્યુઅસલી દેખાતું રહેશે. સાઉન્ડ મ્યુટ કરશો.
Hello.
Yeah. Just we will start the program within a minute.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Hope so. You everybody is at home and the right spirit, even after a pandemic situation. But yes, everybody is so happy because of two big events in our country. One is a welcome to the Rafale, and second is just 2 days back is the 5th August historic day. Myself, I am Nimil Bakshi, Secretary of for the Baroda Management Association. Many people knows my face, but right now we are online this webinar from one of the institute. So I have to respect the basically social distancing. That's the reason I have kept my mask. First of all, everybody knows that there are a lot of issues one by one in our country. Either it's a corona, either it's a China, either it's a Rafale, either it's last one is Ayodhya. But you also notice that those who knows the BMA since long, that BMA specifically, because of this pandemic situation, our entire process is little bit delayed by regular financial year. But you maybe don't know about this thing because the perfect management system set by the Baroda Management Association. And why not? 63 years old, 63 years old, young, dynamic and energetic people are there. At this moment, I must thank to Harish Kateshia, that Harish has taken care about entire Friday evening talk show during the last financial year, even though in the extended period, perfectly. At this moment, I like to invite and let's welcome our new chairman, Friday evening talk, Mr. Deepak Shah. Me and Deepak Bhai will share the screen from the same laptop side. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Deepak Bhai is very popular for the Friday evening talk as well as for BMA as well as for the Computer Society of India, or whether you say દીપક ના નામમાં દીપક છે કે જે પ્રજ્વલિત કાયમ રહે છે, અને એટ ધ સેમ ટાઈમ દીપકનો ધંધો પણ જે છે બિઝનેસ નેમ એ પણ રોશની કોમ્પ્યુટર છે, એટલે દીપકના નામમાં અજવાળું છે અને રોશની પણ છે. અને અત્યારે એટ ધીસ મોમેન્ટ વી આર ફ્રોમ રોશની કોમ્પ્યુટર ઓફિસ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝિંગ ધીસ વેબિનાર. Deepak Bhai is very popular for me because of Friday evening talk. Let's thanks to all the family members of our Friday evening talk people, because since last 1 decade I am connected with the Deepak Bhai through Friday evening talk plus other NGOs. Last year Harish Kateshia was also the you can say it's the achievement of Friday evening talk, that one person is just started to attending the Friday evening talk, taking interest and show that yes, I want to join the BMA, and within a couple of years he was become the Friday evening talk chairman. Same for Deepak Bhai. Deepak Bhai also one of the Friday evening talk participant, active participant I must say. And because of that Friday evening talk, day-to-day talk, I came to know about the Deepak Bhai, and me and Deepak Bhai work together in the BMA for this is the third terms. No doubt with BMA is connected since 1992. Very dynamic person, technocrats, and as you know, every chairman is showing their own fruits, own vegetables, whatever they wish. This time again, one more Friday evening talk chairman is from technocrats, is from technology. So definitely in this financial year we will show the many areas of technology. So I invite I will not take much more time and invite the Deepak Bhai. Deepak Bhai, please.
Thank you very much, Nimil Bhai, for the kind introduction. I have been attending Friday evening talk since many years. I have given some talk also in the evening lecture. This is the great achievement of any institution, that without breaking any Friday, continuously, since last 20 or more than 20 years, we have been conducting evening talk on every Friday. This is a great achievement. And maybe around 1,000 lectures are conducted so far. And I'm glad to announce that this is the 1001st lecture. And I'm lucky to be the chair of this, and this is basically beginning of my tenure as a chairman for this year. And we have a great speaker, Dr. Ranjit Kadam, who is one of the leading eye specialists in the country, and they have a history. The father, their wife, and everybody in the family are the eye surgeon, and most of the Barodians must be knowing them. And today we have Mr. Ranjit Kadam as the eminent speaker who will guide us through the entire topic today. He is a great orator. He is not only a doctor, he is a great cricketer, he is an athlete, he is a very good orator. He is one of the experts on computer graphics. He writes poetries. Extraordinary person. In fact, when I met him first time during my chairmanship at Computer Society of India, I was wondering, in a single life and in a such a short span of life, how one can be expert on so many subjects. And we have an extraordinary person, Mr. Dr. Ranjit Kadam. I'll not take much time, and now I request Dr. Ranjit Kadam to deliver his talk. Thank you.
This Hawaii chocolates for 120, 150 rupees, and people want only these products now. And the inventory
Meanwhile, just I humble request to everyone, please keep on the mute mode. Yes, I can see everyone is on keep the mute mode. And at last end of the section, definitely we need the golden memory of all of you. So we will request you once again to open your all the video. You can continue your video during the talks also. Okay, sir. Now over to the today's speaker, Dr. Kadam.
among many of
Uh,
particularly in terms of
Good evening, everyone. Uh,
their own
I'm Dr. Ranjit Kadam, and I thank
families,
Deepak Bhai and
their constitution and all, but not practice. Also, also making the big not practice.
Can you hear me?
And therefore, families without clear policies,
Can they hear me now?
they get into what I call the
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Ranjit Kadam, and I thank Mr. Deepak Mr. Nirmit for inviting me here for this meeting of the Baroda Management Association. And it's so nice to see so many of you here joining on this webcast. And it is a real coincidence for me that every time Mr. Deepak calls me,
1 minute, Dr. Kadam.
sorry.
Requesting Jagdish Shukla to mute the mic, please. There are a lot of background noise which is coming. Jagdish Shukla, please mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? And all good? Right?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, yeah. Fine. It's quite a coincidence that every time Mr. Deepak calls me for a lecture somewhere, it's raining cats and dogs outside, and that's what happened today too. It's raining outside. Anyway, with that, I think I'll start with my talk today. The basic talk is on eye and its diseases, because that is what my specialty is, and that's what I do. The way we are going to go through this talk is like this. First, let's have a bit of an insight into how the eye works and what are its different parts, so that it's easier to understand the rest of it. Then we will move on to some of the refractive errors that are there, and the ways of that modalities that we have of correcting those. And then we will go on to the problems caused by excessive viewing of the electronic screens and a lot of near work that the lockdown has forced upon us now. So with that, I begin with the first part of the lecture, and that is the eye and its disorder and its diseases. All right. So if you look at a normal eye, it's divided functionally. It is divided into two parts. First is the optical system. Now this system is the part of the eye that focuses image onto the retina. Can we go back? Yeah. So the optical system focuses the image onto the retina, and the neurosensory system is the system that senses the light and it converts it into electrochemical impulses, which are then carried to the brain. The optical system consists of the cornea, lens, iris, and the pupil. And the neurosensory system, which is the sensing system of the eye, consists of the retina and the optic nerve. The cornea is the thin, transparent layer in front of the eye. We don't really see it because it's transparent. What we directly see is the iris behind. Now, the function of this layer, it's a very important function of refraction, focusing the rays of light onto the retina. We will come back to this again later on. Then comes the natural lens of the eye. This, what most of you know, if it turns white, is called motia. So the natural lens of the eye. The function again is to focus the rays of light onto the retina. The refractive power of the eye. Now the lens and the cornea both work together to focus the rays of light on the retina. Most people think that the lens, because it is called a lens, has a greater function in focusing rays of light. But if you see, the total power of the eye is 60 diopters. Out of that, lens contributes only 20 diopters, whereas the cornea contributes a whole amount of 40 diopters. So even a small change in the curvature of the cornea will lead to a huge change in the refraction of the patient. The iris and the pupil, these two function to control the amount of light entering the eye. So iris is what is the diaphragm or the brown part that you see in, from the front when you look at the eye. And in the center is a small black dot, that is the pupil. It is the hole through which the light enters into the eye. So if you go to see the lens, pupil is actually the aperture and iris is the diaphragm. Together these two control the amount of light entering into the eye. Now the retina, aankhno pardo, that is the sensory part at the back of the eye. It senses light and converts it into electrochemical nerve impulses, which are then carried to the brain. Optic nerve, this is like a wire which connects the eye to the brain. It carries the impulses which are generated by the retina to the brain. Now the place where the optic nerve enters in or is connected into the eye is known as an optic disc. Now this is what we know as the physiological blind spot of the eye. That means this is a blind spot in our visual field which normally exists in every person. Yeah. Now the optical cortex. The optical cortex is that part of the brain which senses this light that is sent by the eye. It creates a picture, it analyzes it, recognizes it from the memory. So it does all the processing work. That's how when you look at, say, an apple, you see that an apple is there. It's the shape of an apple. It's red in color. And from what has been taught to you by the brain, it knows that this fruit is an apple. That's how it works. Now, if we go with that analogy that eye is a camera, then you have to say that the cornea and lens are the lens of this camera. Iris is the diaphragm of the camera, pupil is the aperture, and retina is the photographic film where the picture will develop. Refractive errors. Now what are refractive errors? These are usually errors in focusing the rays of light onto the retina. Now this can happen because the size of the eyeball is not in sync with the refractive refractive system that is there. It can be a developmental error. So it's usually an error that develops as the person grows up. Yeah. So this is what happens in a normal eye. So you have an object, the size of the eye is perfect for the optical system, and hence the rays of light are now focused well onto the retina and you get a clear inverted image. This, of course, this inverted image is re-inverted into your brain so that you see the image upright the way it is. What happens in hypermetropia, or what you know as plus number? People with plus number, or it's also known as far-sighted, because these people can see far-sighted things good, but they cannot see near things. So the rays of light are focused behind the retina, which causes an image blur at the level of the retina, which essentially means that the eyeball has not grown as the way it should. It is actually shorter than required. So the rays of light are being focused behind the retina rather than on it. Now to correct a plus number, so to correct a plus number, what we require is a convex lens in front of the eye. So that will bring the focus nearer, or it will increase the focusing ability of the eye. Now myopia, this is by far the more common one. Most people, and it is more detrimental to the eye in a way, because a lot of high myopic people have other problems also. This is known as short-sightedness. These people have the minus number. So they can see near things without having to focus, but they cannot see distant things at all. In this, what happens is that the refractive system of the eye is too strong, or the eyeball grows to be too big for that optical system, and hence the rays of light are focused in front of the retina rather than onto it. So for correcting this, what you require are a concave lens. It's a concave lens in correction, so it pushes the focus point back onto the retina. Astigmatism or cylindrical number, what we know in Gujarati as traso number. A lot of people are very scared of traso number. It's nothing great. What it simply means is that the power in one axis is more than the power in the other axis. And hence, instead of forming one spot on the retina, it forms a whole circle. So it may be that one of the axis is focused on the retina and the other is focused behind, or any of that combination, or both may not be focused on the retina at all. For correcting astigmatism, what we require is something known as cylindrical numbers. The cylindrical numbers are basically called cylindrical numbers because they are, as I've shown in the figure, there are two cylinders which are superimposed on each other at 90 degrees. And that's how you can correct astigmatism. The difficulty with correcting astigmatism is that these spectacles have to be worn exactly on a certain axis. If the axis moves, tilts, or is decentered, then it causes a big disturbance in the vision. And that is why people are scared of astigmatism so much. Changes with age. What are the changes that happen in refractive errors with age? As you know, that the eyeball can only grow bigger. It cannot grow smaller. So with age, the eyeball keeps getting bigger, which essentially means that myopia, where the focus lies in front of the retina, will always increase because the eyeball grows further and further, the retina goes further and further away from the focus, and hence the number or the power required in the concave lens will keep growing. In hypermetropia or the plus number, the power actually decreases because as the age grows or as the person grows, the eyeball keeps increasing in size, and the focus which was behind the retina slowly comes and falls on the retina. So many times if it's a small plus number, we don't have to bother about. Most people, it will get corrected by the time they require 18. Now why 18 years of age? 18 years of age is because most of the growth of the eyeball, the changes in size and everything will have stabilized by 18. After 18 usually there aren't great changes. There's a small fluctuations can happen till the age of 25. Except in people who have extremely high numbers or extremely high myopia, where the structure and the walls of the eyeball are not normal, and hence they keep growing more and more during the whole life. And that is what we know as a pathological myopia or an abnormal myopia. Now, what are the changes that happen with age? Now, in a normal eye, in a young person's normal eye, it doesn't have to make any efforts to focus on distant objects. So when you're looking at a distant object, the power or the focusing power you're using is actually zero. When you look at something near you in your hands, the eyes have to focus on those things. So the power of the lens has to change, and that happens by changing the lens thickness or contraction of the muscles, and this is known as accommodation. It accommodates to a near object. In presbyopia, what happens is after the age of 40, because of the aging, the lens loses its elasticity, the muscles lose their ability to contract as much, and because of all these changes, the person cannot focus on near objects well enough. This usually happens at 40 and it increases till that we say that by the age of say 55 to 60, the person loses, Okay, so the person loses all ability at the age of 55 to 60 to focus on near things. So this ability, this difficulty in focusing on near objects once you cross 40 is what is known as a presbyopia. Right. So this is what we talked about, that at 40 it becomes more and more difficult to change focus and look at a near object, and that is known as presbyopia. So how do you treat refractive errors? We already have now seen how the refractive errors develop and how they develop through life, but how do you treat them? So there are basically 4 modalities now: spectacles, contact lenses, refractive surgeries, and clear lens extraction, or now probably I forgot to add that. Now we can say that it's a phakic lens implant. We will talk about that a little bit later on. Contact lenses. These are, you know a lot about most of the people. Sorry. Contact lenses. These are very wafer thin lenses which are worn directly onto the cornea. They have to be worn every day, removed every day. The advantage is that it has a better quality of lens of vision than your spectacles, because these lenses are directly put onto the cornea, and hence the quality of vision, the field of vision is much better than the your spectacles. Now they are available for astigmatism, for cylindrical corrections, high numbers, everything. So usually they can suffice to most of the people with correct most with the contact lenses. The only problem is every day they have to be worn, removed every day, and they have certain degree of cleanliness and all have to be maintained. But with habit, this becomes very easy. LASIK or LASIK surgery, these are surgeries for removal of numbers using an excimer laser. LASIK stands for laser assisted stromal in situ keratoconiosis, a long thing, so it's called LASIK for short. LASIK or epi-LASIK, this is a surface ablation. I'll tell you in detail later on what it is. It's laser assisted subepithelial keratectomy, also known as an epi-LASIK. The LASIK surgery is the flapless and the bladeless version of the refractive surgery. Right. So how does a refractive surgery actually work? This is how it is. We carve on the cornea using a laser, and we change the curvature of the cornea, as you can see from the first to the third. The cornea works like a lens. So if you make small changes, as I told you, 40 diopters of the eye power is in the cornea. So if you make small changes in the curvature of the lens, you will have big changes in the numbers. So that is the principle of doing a refractive surgery. Right. Now this is theoretically or diagrammatically how the LASIK surgery is done. A flap or 100 micron thickness flap is cut into the cornea, which is the first of the graphics. Then this flap is lifted off. It is attached to only one place, which is known as the hinge of the flap. Then the base is sculpted using a laser, which I told you, the excimer laser. This causes an ablation or the sculpting of the corneal base, and then the flap is put back in place, and you can see that there is a curvature change that happens. Now the advantage, what is the advantage? Why would you want to cut a flap? So basically the advantage of LASIK surgery in a big way is that the surface of the cornea is well preserved. This helps because the cornea becomes very clear, and the patient is okay. And the patient is pretty comfortable, no pain, nothing. On the second day itself, visual recovery is also much faster. So it comes to the second part of that, and that is the LASIK surgery. Now this is the flapless and bladeless version. So here no flap is cut, nothing is cut. What is done is we treat the surface of the cornea with chemicals, and only the skin of the eye or the epithelium is removed. Now the surface is sculpted with a laser, again to change the curvature of the cornea. And because there is no flap, so we put a bandage contact lens or a contact lens on top and allow the surface to heal. The bandage contact, the surface heals usually within 3 days, and after 1 week or so, remove the bandage contact. Okay, the LASIK procedure, it's similar to the LASIK, uses the same excimer laser, full wavefront treatment is achieved. What is a wavefront treatment? We'll talk about that later. No flap is required in this, and because of that, all the problems that are associated with the flap are totally negated. It is just as quick as LASIK, and it just takes a few minutes to perform this procedure. After we do the ablation, then new generation medicines like the mitomycin C are applied on the surface. So this makes sure that no scarring appears and makes LASIK an extremely safe procedure. Now the advantage of the LASIK is there's no flap. See, what happens is in LASIK surgery, when you cut a flap, most amount of complications happen at that step. So it is responsible for more than 90% of the complications that happen. Second thing is in LASIK surgery, when you put the flap back in place, the interface or the joint, it never heals. So lifelong, this division of flap remains in your eye. All these problems are negated because no flap is created here. The cornea remains as one unit, hence it has more strength, it has more stability, and it eliminates the most dangerous of the long-term complication of LASIK. See, in LASIK, what happens is, with time, some people who have very thin, very soft, or very weak corneas, their corneas can possibly D-shape, and that is known as ectasia. It is not a common complication, it's an extremely rare complication, but it is amongst the most devastating complications because it leads to a lot of loss of vision, and it's extremely difficult to manage and treat it. So this is one complication that we are very scared of. And in LASIK surgery, it totally eliminates this complication, and hence it makes it very, very safe in the long term. Now in LASIK surgery, because again we are not cutting that 100 micron thickness of the flap, more thickness is available for treatment, and hence we can correct greater numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. In LASIK surgery, the disadvantage is that the initial recovery is slower than LASIK, and it may take up to 2 more weeks for the vision to clear. And however, during these 2 weeks also, that the patient does have enough vision to do its routine work. So the LASIK I would strongly recommend amongst the refractive surgeries over LASIK, because that is how the it's very safe, and in the long term it's extremely stable. In wavefront correction, we had talked about wavefront at the beginning. What is the wavefront correction? So basically, we know about sphere and cylindrical numbers. There are other small errors that they are not throughout the cornea. There are smaller errors which are known as the higher order aberrations. Now, LASIK surgery, we can map these higher order aberrations and correct that too, and it can give many times a supernormal vision. So now we have treatment plans that can correct these higher order aberrations, and customized for the sorry.
वीडियो क्या अगर पाछड़ से
Yeah, just humble request to everyone. I think one number is just keep your mute mode. Please check your system on the lower left side. Keep mute.
Okay, so now we can safely say that the lasers have evolved, and safety parameters are much better. It's a very safe and effective treatment. More than that, people feel that laser karya pachi but numbers to pacha avi jai chhe, which is not true. It is now it's a permanent cure, and the regression that we see is very, very rare. We can correct up to 10 to 15 diopters of numbers accurately. The candidates have to be selected nicely. No injections are required, and there may be initially glare for some time, but this usually settles down with time, and you get crystal clear vision. Smile technique that many of you would have heard by now it's a recent advance or recent addition to, you can say, to the refractive surgery. It stands for that small. incision lenticular extraction. In this, a femtosecond is a different type of a laser. It's used to cut a small lenticule or a small lens within the layers of cornea, and these are extracted through a small incision. It is dubbed as a flapless surgery as the opening in the cornea is very small. So if you can see the figure, LASIK has a much bigger flap, whereas in RELAX or SMILE, it is a much smaller flap. So actually, if you go to see, two planes are cut, first below and then above. And then these two are intersected so that it makes a small lenticule. Then from a small opening, this lenticule is removed out through the two cuts. The advantages are this, that there is no ablation, so the heat generation is smaller. It is stronger cornea than LASIK, but not as strong as the LASIK surgery. And the patient comfort in the initial period is much better than with LASIK or LASIK. The disadvantage is the accuracy is still not matching the LASIK and LASIK. So we'll have to wait till the accuracy reaches that level. Wavefront correction is not possible with this, and the amount of correction is also limited. Biggest disadvantage, plus numbers cannot be corrected by SMILE technique. Third thing, revision. So if some number is left behind or a patient recurs or some numbers come back, then revision or redoing it is not possible. It's a relatively complicated procedure and hence complications can happen during the surgery. Biggest one, very expensive procedure. It costs more than 2 or 3 times of the highest amount of the LASIK surgery or LASIK surgery, and it does not offer the same amount of advantages as the cost would suggest. So expensive and the latest does not really translate into being better. Implantable contact lenses. Again, this is a new advance that has come into. What we can do is, these are ultra thin lenses for very high minus number people or very thin and abnormal corneas where lasers cannot be done. These lenses can be implanted. These are very thin or ultra thin lenses that can be implanted to fix onto a natural lens and correct any amount of refractive power. So doesn't matter if you are minus 25, minus 30, whatever power, any power can be corrected by fixing this lens into the eye. Now the advantage is being that the amount of number correction is limitless. You can correct anything. Cornea is not touched, so weakening of the cornea, all the laser associated complications are avoided, and the quality of the vision is good. It's much better than the glasses or the contact lenses because we are correcting at the level of the lens there. The disadvantage is being it's an intraocular surgery, so it's surgery done inside the eye. So you have to open the eye and put the lens inside the eye. A few other problems that can happen is that a cataract can happen because of the contact of the lens with the surface, a raised pressure or inflammation inside the eye, and rarely retinal detachment can also happen. But these are extremely low now, and with develop in the design of the lenses and all, we rarely see these problems happening nowadays. So coming to the myths or what people think about refractive errors, and that is where most of the problems of patients happen because of this. First, increase in numbers can be prevented by wearing of glasses. Now most of the parents who come to me, they say that મારો છોકરો તો કાયમ ગ્લાસ પહેરે, ચશ્મા પહેરી રાખે છે, તોય એના નંબર વધે છે. The numbers are going to increase. He has got a minus number. It is going to increase till the age of 18. So you cannot, the glasses are there so that he gets a good quality of vision. The sensitivity develops well and all, but they are not there to prevent increase in numbers. That cannot be prevented just by wearing the glasses. Second thing, and this I think most of you would be interested in, watching excessive TV, working on computers, mobile phones is a major cause of increase of numbers or causation of refractive errors in children. The first thing that happens when a number increases, the parent comes to me and says कि मैं तो आनो मोबाइल बंद करावी नाख्यो छे, એટલે એને એનો નંબર વધી રહ્યો છે એટલે મેં એનો મોબાઈલ બંધ કરી દીધો છે, કમ્પ્યુટર બંધ કરી દીધું છે. It is not going to happen. The numbers are going to increase to some extent. Yes, watching and seeing near things or working on computers and mobiles does affect increasing the speed of increase of numbers in some cases. But it is not a major cause of increase of numbers, and it cannot be stopped by completely avoiding it either. Then, as a lot of other people would have told you, have vitamins, do yoga, homeopathy, Ayurveda, rose water, cow urine, honey, milk, all these can cure numbers. I'm sorry to inform you, they do not. They do not. Many of the vitamins and all are required for the normal health of the eye, for the well-being of the eye, but they are not going to correct your numbers. Okay, so coming down to our lockdown, electronic screens and the eye. What has happened during the current lockdown, stay at home, work from home is that people are confined indoors, which means that most of the time they are focusing on near things, on things that are near to them. And work from home also means that you're stuck to the computer screen or you're stuck to the mobile. Most of the kids, they have their online classes, so for extensive period of time, they're looking at their either studying on the computer or they are studying on the mobile phone. Or once that is over, then what do you do sitting inside home? So they keep seeing their favorite serials on the phones or laptops or TV. Now, where the eye is concerned, this is tremendous increase in the workload. What we talked about initially, there are muscles that are contracting and changing the focus from the distance to near. If you remember in my initial slides what I said, when you look at a distant object, the eye does not have to make any effort. But when you look at a near thing, the muscles of focusing have to contract. And when they contract, they bring the focus from distance to near. Now you imagine that you are staring at a computer screen or you're staring at a phone in your hand. You're continuously concentrating at a small distance or a near distance. So the muscles of focusing, they are completely in a contracted state and they are not relaxing at all. They keep contracting all the time. What this leads to is a spasm of the muscles and the muscles tire out. So if this continues for a long period of time, so if you keep working on your computers, laptops or your mobile phones for a long period of time, it leads to fatigue or tiredness, which is in our technical terms, it's known as an asthenopia. The second thing that it does is that your blinking rate goes down when you're looking at an electronic screen. So this is a natural thing to happen. Whenever you stare at an electronic screen, the number of times that your eye blinks within a minute goes down. This leads to a deficiency in the tear film, because every time you blink, the eyelids, they form a layer of the tear film on the eye, and again once the eye is open, these tear film break up. So because the tear film keeps breaking up and evaporating longer, so you get getting what is known as a relative dry eye in the eye. And the third is the computer vision syndrome, which is a combination of these 2-3 factors leading to spasm or the tiredness of the focusing muscles, the dry eye. This leads to a reddish looking eye, which is altogether called as the computer vision syndrome. Second problem that happens is, see, for all this, all you have to do is rest your eye. But people don't rest their eye. They feel that आँखमा बहुत गर्मी छे, that somehow the eye has become very hot or something, and they feel that once they wash their eyes, आ गर्मी निकल जैसे. This is where bigger problem happens, because you are putting unsterile water into the eye. You are washing out the normal tears or film of the eye, which has many other things other than just water, and you are putting your tap water in the eye, which contains lots of organisms, and hence you end up with eye infections. So what do we do now? What can we do actually for all this? For people who have spectacles, wear your proper spectacle number. Never look at a screen for a long period of time without your spectacle number. I know most of the people most of the minus number people, they can work on your computers without any spectacles, but still it is important to wear spectacles and do the work. Otherwise, your focusing muscles are not going to be used properly and you will undergo a disuse atrophy. So people who are above 40 years of age, you have to use your near glass. Now there are a lot of you who are using bifocal or progressive bifocal glasses for working. I would suggest that when you have to do long-term work on your computer screen, a bifocal or a progressive bifocal glass is not convenient. In a bifocal glass, the near correction comes in the lower part, just as in the progressive too. So what you have to do is you have to keep raising your head like this and working on the screen so that the near glass comes into the way. Now this is not convenient if you have to do it for a long period of time. So best thing is to get an only near glass made. Keep it near your computer. The moment you start working on computer, take your near glass, wear it and do your work. Another important thing is that to rest the eye for every few minutes. I'll come to this, how you can do it. You don't need to touch the eye. You don't need to massage the eye. You don't need to do anything else to the eye. All you have to do is look at a faraway object. What happens is when you will look at a faraway object, in between, your muscles of focusing will have to relax. And that is how, wait till the image clears. When the image clears, which means that the muscles of focusing have relaxed, and then after a few minutes, you can get back to work. The funda is very simple. If I ask you to walk suddenly 10 kilometers, your legs are going to get tired. But if you sit down every 1 kilometer, rest for a while, and then walk, the legs will not feel that tired. The same thing works for the eyes also. And the third thing that you can do is use a lot of moistening or hydrating eye drops. What this does is it keeps reconstructing your tear film, keeps the tear film more stable, and for a long period of time, it works very well. Sorry. Okay. So use a lot amount of hydrating teardrops, and that helps a lot. We say for computer professionals and people who now have to do a lot of near work, as in a lockdown, there is a rule of 20, which simply means 20 minutes of work on the computer screen, 20 minutes of 20 seconds of a break. So at 20 minutes of work, take 20 seconds of a break to look at an object which is 20 feet away. This is a simple way to remember how to work well whenever you are in a lockdown and you have to work for an extensive period of time. Okay, I think I still have got 10 to 15 minutes. Now, ideal screen distance is 45 to 70 centimeters. Why 45 to 70 centimeters? Because at this level, the amount of focusing that your eye has to do is optimal, which means if you put the screen too far away, you will not see well enough. If you put the screen too near, your eye has to do too much of work. So 45 to 70 centimeters is the ideal distance for working, and you should have it 15 to 20 degrees below the eye level, so that you don't have to stretch your neck too far below or too much above. This because a big problem with most computer professionals is a cervical spondylosis, because they keep their neck either too much too flexed or too extended, and that causes a big problem later on if this keeps happening for a long period of time. Now there are some people, in fact a lot of people, who come to me and they feel that they need to wear some sort of glasses to protect them from the computer screen. Unfortunately, I feel this is basically a myth which is propagated by most of these opticians who want to sell off their more amount of glasses to you. Plain anti-glare glasses are of no benefit, they will not help in any way while working on the computer screen. So I keep telling my patients that you would rather put the lubricating drops in your eye than use these anti-glare glasses. Washing of the eyes with tap water, very harmful. You should not do it. And so people tell me, आँख के अंदर कहीं कचरू जाए तो शू करवाना? Yes, at that time, because it's an urgency or an emergency, you can wash your eyes. Preferably, if you have access to boiled water, then you use boiled water to do it. But it's not every day that kachru goes into the eye, so you don't need to do it daily that way. Lot of people have been talking about electromagnetic radiation. They feel that the radiation coming from the electromagnetic radiations coming from the screen will harm the eye. Till date, there is nothing to say that beyond any doubt it causes any damage to the eye. So it doesn't. Again, the third thing that we had was most parents complaining that the numbers are increasing because my child is working on laptop computers and looking at the phone. To some extent, this is true, but it is not an absolute truth. There are some studies which have been conducted. So if I talk of a very prominent study, it is something known as the Singapore Eye Study, which is conducted by the SNEC or the Singapore National Eye Convention. Now in Singapore, minus numbers have become a very big problem because a lot of their children are ending up with minus numbers. They are genetically predisposed to it. So they initiated a study almost 15 to 20 years back, I think, and a huge study, multi-centered study, which covered a lot of hospitals in Singapore to study how or what factors are there that would increase the rate of growth of minus numbers in small children. Amongst the findings that they came up, it was like excessive use of near focusing power definitely is one of the factors. Second factor they said was outdoor activity. Outdoor activity was a very positive influence, and that's why they said that send your children out to play. Of course, in this current lockdown situation, that is a little bit difficult, but maybe going out in the balconies or something for some time would help in that way. But they say an outdoor activity is a very positive influence in stabilizing numbers. Wearing your full and proper correction is another factor that they had come up with that said that that helped in preventing the growth of numbers. So minus number people every 6 months to 1 year should be going back to the doctors and having their eyes checked. And if there is any change in numbers, you have to wear that number. And the final factor that they said was, and there are some drops which are available that will reduce the amount of near focusing work in a minus number people. These are very low dose atropine drops. I have not mentioned them here because I don't want someone who listens to my lecture picking up this drop and putting it randomly into their children's eye. I want you to go consult your eye specialist, and if he feels that you are a good candidate for putting these drops, then these drops certainly will help in controlling the growth of minus number in your children's eye. Okay, I think we'll come to the final fraction. I think I've got 10 more minutes to speak on this, so we'll go through this fast. Most people now would also like to know a little bit about the cataract. Cataract, what is cataract? So the natural lens of the eye, when it opacifies, it prevents light entering inside the eye, the vision goes down, and that is known as a cataract. As there are a lot of touts out there who have given medical things that you put these drops and it will prevent cataract, it doesn't. So it cannot be prevented or treated medically. Age of cataracts is very variable. I have got 20 to 20-year-olds also coming to me with cataracts, and the cataracts have to be surgically removed. There is no chance of doing. So there is no chance of. Sorry.
Sorry to everyone, just interruption for the 1 minute. Someone is trying to use the platform actually in a wrong manner by checking his business promotion. So we are just removing him and joining within a 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, Dr. Gautam, please.
Yeah. So the cataracts have to be removed. Cataracts have to be removed surgically, and this is followed by putting a lens inside the eye, because you are removing the natural lens of the eye. So it has to be you put another lens inside. Now, when do we do a cataract surgery? So a lot of people come to me saying कि okay, मोतियो तो छे, पण काढवो के नहीं काढवो, के हमना काढवो के क्यारे काढवो. So the simple way of coming to this is that once the cataract starts to interfere with your daily routine, whatever work you are doing, at that time you should go for a cataract surgery. However, it is not advisable to wait till the lens becomes opaque. So what people say कि मोतियो साव पाकी जाए एना पछी ज काढवो, that is not true anymore. In fact, you end up with lot of complications if you have waited too much and the lens has become too hard, or it's become hypermature, as it is said, because a hypermature cataract will start to liquefy. If it bursts, you have very bad consequences in the eye. It's a routine surgery and has a low rate. So cataract surgery is not a dangerous surgery. It's pretty routine, and hence it is regarded as very safe. These are the types of cataract surgeries. I will go to all these very fast, so since we don't have too much of time now remaining. This is a conventional cataract surgery which was done probably in early time when my dad had started practicing at that time, so 20-30 years back. We would make a big 12 to 14 millimeter incision. The whole cataract would be removed, and then we would take stitches to close this. Now, obviously, there were problems because there was healing was delayed. The recovery time was much more. It causes a lot of cylindrical numbers or astigmatism. This is a pictorial depiction of how a conventional cataract surgery works. Then came phacosurgery. This sort of changed the whole game a lot. In phacosurgery, what is done is we use an ultrasound energy, not a laser energy. Most people think it's laser energy, but it's not laser energy. We use ultrasound energy to break the cataract into very small pieces, and these are sucked out using a very high suction. So only through a 2 to 3 millimeter small incision, this whole surgery can be done. And because the incision is self-sealing, no stitches are required. This is a very big name in ophthalmology, which is Dr. Charles Kellman, because 30 years ago, he discovered phacoemulsification, and that has totally transformed the whole cataract surgery. So through a micro incision, now we can remove the whole cataract and we can implant lenses which are of various design, no pain and instantaneous recovery. The foldable lens can be put 3 to 3 millimeter incision. The recovery is very fast in 1 week. In fact, the patient nowadays starts seeing from the same day. When he comes out of the operation theatre, he is already seeing to some extent. This is a pictorial depiction of the cataract surgery, and that's how a foldable lens is implanted in the eye. Yeah, right. So that's how it works. One of the recent advances is something known as an MICS, which is a micro incision cataract surgery. In this, the phaco incision is further reduced from 3 millimeters to 2.2 millimeters. This is possible because now we have ultra thin phaco needles and sleeves, and there are pressure sensors now at the tip of the probe. So these maintain the pressure inside the eye very nicely while the cataract is being broken down and it is sucked out using high suction. It is performed under something known as topical anesthesia. What this means in doctor terms is that we just put a drop of anesthetic on your eye. We do not give you a big injection, or we don't make you sleep or anything like that during the surgery. The recovery is instantaneous. No patching is required. We just give us goggles to the patient inside the operation theatre and he can be brought out. No injection. The only slightly tough part is that the patient has to be cooperative. So the patient is usually shown a light while the operation is going on, and he said that you focus on this microscope light in front of you while we operate. So the patient has to be a little bit cooperative and keep the eye steady while we are doing the surgery. Another thing that you are now probably being bombarded in most of the advertisements is something known as FLACS, or a femtosecond laser assisted cataract surgery. The femtosecond now, instead of using the normal knives or the surgical knives that we have to create the incision, a laser is used to make the incision and the opening into the lens capsule, and also cause the division or the breaking in of the nucleus of the cataract. After this is done, then we go in and put the phaco probe inside and remove the cataract by phacosurgery. The advantage is that there is a precision in positioning the size of the opening on the cornea and the lens capsule. It saves energy because already the nucleus is divided into some parts. Disadvantage is, the biggest disadvantage, does not replace phaco. So after doing all the flaps, you have to do a phaco and remove everything. Final results are not different from a normal phaco. It works like a same thing as a phaco. The same results you get, the same lenses are implanted in the eye, but it increases the operation time and it adds its own list of complications. And biggest problem, again, it's very expensive. So it increases the cost of surgery by 2 to 3 times. And the problem is, at the end of it, you see the same. So since I'm talking in the management association, you always talk about the cost benefit ratio. So if does the benefit justify the cost? And in this case, I don't think it does so far. Some of the lenses which are there, these are some of the advances in the lenses. We'll go through it fast in a couple of minutes. The aspheric optic lenses, multifocal lenses, accommodating lenses. Most of you who go to for surgeries now will be offered all these lenses, and you'll have to choose which one you want for your eye. Aspheric optic lenses. These lenses are have an optic that has an exact same power anywhere you measure on the lens. A normal lens, the power of the lens will be more in the center, less in the center and more in the periphery. Whereas an aspheric lens is a lens that has a constantly changing curvature throughout the surface, so that wherever you measure on the lens, the power remains constant. So it gives a better definition and a clearer image to the person. So this is probably a depiction of how you would see through an aspheric lens than through a spherical lenses. They improve the accuracy, but the problem is they reduce the depth of focus. So you get pinpoint good focus at one plane, but if you move back and forth from that plane, your focus becomes lesser. Then we come to what is now being offered is something known as multifocal lenses. Most of the lenses till date were monofocal, which means they had a single focus. So patients usually used to correct for distance, and then we would give reading glasses to these patients. The multifocal lens, the big advantage is they have 2 focuses, one for distance, one for near. So they can, a person can see both at the same time with the same eye. Accommodating lens is a lens that moves back and forth in your eye, and it follows the natural focusing power of the eye. Hence, the dependence of the lens is totally gone. This is how a monofocal lens works. It's a clear optic lens and hence has a single focus. But for near, you would require glasses. Multifocal lens, there are these rings on this lens. When the light strikes the ring, it splits into 2 parts. One goes for distance and one goes for near. So in this, you have 2 focuses in both the eyes. One disadvantage of, or one side effect of the multifocal lenses is it causes a glare because it's splitting light into 2 parts. Whenever you look at a bright source of light like a bulb, you see a ring of light or a glare around it. Day-to-day life, it does not cause a problem, but it would cause a problem in night vision. You have to make sure that the person does not have any other problems and both eyes are working at the same level when you put a multifocal lens in the eye, because these lenses work in pairs, which means that when both the eyes will have a multifocal lens in them, they will work the best. So this is what I was talking about, that because they are splitting light into 2 parts, some amount of glare is there. Also, there is some reduction in the contrast sensitivity, so some dim light vision is reduced, and also they are much more expensive than a monofocal lens. Accommodating lenses are still in the experimental phase. We have still not reached a place where we have a very ideal or a very good accommodating lens. Okay. So the optic of the lens is a monofocal or a single focus optic. Now this lens gives you near vision by moving forward. So when the muscles of focusing contract, they move the lens a little bit forward, and that's how you get a near vision. The best example of this was a Krista lens, but unfortunately there have been first let's talk about the advantages of this. There's no glare like the multifocal lens because it doesn't split light. There's no reduction in contrast sensitivity, so your night vision is much better. And it has a near to natural mechanism of focusing, so it moves back and forth as much as focusing you do. Now, the disadvantages being that the amount of near focus is variable, because some people will have good muscles by that age and they will have a good amount of focusing. Some people may not have good muscles. So a lot of research is still being done on the designs of this. So if we come in short, this is how a normal person looks. He can see distance and near objects the same way. A person over the age of 40 will have a presbyopia, so he can see distance nice, but for near he requires the glasses. A person who develops a cataract cannot see distance or near, both of them become blurred, and hence he requires a surgery to correct this. After a monofocal lens implant, the person can see distance well, but he doesn't see near well enough. In a multifocal lens, because the lens is splitting light into two parts, the person can see distance, can see near also, but has some amount of glare. We'll skip the glaucoma because we are running out of time now. And thank you very much for patiently listening. Thank you for joining this webinar. I hope it was helpful to you and gave you some good amount of information. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I request to speaker Dr. Kadam to cover all the question and answer. First of all, whatever you have mentioned in the chat. Just a minute. वो चैट में ले लो तो मैं क्वेश्चन
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Can we have the questions? Does eye surgery have any impact on eye balance?
On तुम्हारा voice नहीं आता.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Voice नहीं आता.
Okay, unmute. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
एक minute.
Now it's okay?
Yes, we are able to hear very clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, Dame, speaker please.
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I guess you can. Okay, we'll start with the questions. Does eye surgery, Rishikesh Joshi is asking, does eye surgery have any impact on the ear balance, which happens naturally? No. The body balance is a function of the ears or the internal canals in the ear. The eye does not actually have any function to do in the balancing process. So most of the vertigo that is there is originating from the ears. It is not originating from the eye. Where the eye works in balance is something known as a diplopia or double imaging. That can happen because one of the eye muscles is paralyzed and both the eyes are not following the same pattern. So it has got the body balance has more to do at the ear rather than this. What's the next one? Night blindness or retina. Okay, night blindness or any medical improvement in. Unfortunately, retinitis pigmentosa is still a very big problem for us because no real treatment is still no real treatment for retinitis pigmentosa has been developed. Some trial is going on with stem cell implants and all, but there's not been really very successful. I would certainly say one thing though, that So the surgical implantation of stem cells behind the retina has not worked at all. And lot of people have lost their eyes because of that. So we should not try and go and do that unless we really have some definite results about those kind of surgeries. Okay. આંખોને જીવન
સારું રાખવા માટે
સારી રાખવા માટે કોઈ આંખની કસરત ના. That is another thing. Lot of people ask me કે શું કસરત કરવી આંખની, કે ઉપર નીચે જોવું, આમ તેમ ફરાવું. These are not for the eye muscle. The eye muscles do not really need an exercise. So if you go to see, every time you are moving your eye from one end to the other end, you are exercising the eye muscles. You don't need to do any extra eye muscles exercises for this. Some people who have a squint problem, they will have a specific eye exercise, but the doctor should prescribe this and they should say that these convergence exercise or whatever has to be done by a person. But otherwise, no general exercise is required as such. These days, everybody's screen time has increased. I think we talked a lot about the screen time and how to manage. The rule of 20, like 20 minutes of work, 20 seconds of rest, looking at a 20 feet away object, that is what should help. And lot of lubricating eye drops. Most importantly, do not wash your eyes. Don't put water inside the eyes. Do you think Blu-rays filter lenses help for long term? Blu-ray filter lenses, a lot of theory has been put onto that, but on the ground level, and if you, after having read a lot of text on this, if you ask my personal opinion, I don't think that helps. So I don't really advocate use of Blu-ray filter lenses so much. What type of lenses are recommended for senior citizen of after cataract, and how much is the cost? So I after cataract, so during the cataract surgery, I think we talked about the lenses and the options which are available right now. So you have to choose what kind of work do you do and what do you want. Do you want a clear vision, and if you are have to wearing if you're fine having to wear lenses at some point of time, then you should go for a monofocal lens. If you feel that no, મને ચશ્મા પહેરવા જ નથી, દૂર નજીક બધું દેખાવું જોઈએ, then a multifocal lens is a better idea for you. Other than that,
બહુ important question Dr. સાહેબ આવ્યો છે, and that's regarding the eye donation asked by the Dr. Vidyasagar Patel. I think there is a big myth in eye donation also.
yes.
કારણ કે તમે આખો ડોનેશન કરશો તો પછી સ્વર્ગમાં જવાનું નહીં મળે, હજી પણ વિચારી રહ્યા છે લોકો.
Yes, eye donation is definitely a very important part of it. But most people feel that when you donate an eye and someone implants an eye into the other person, the whole eyeball can be replaced. For a person who's totally blind, you can replace the eyeball and that person starts seeing. It doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. The most commonly used part of the eye is the cornea. So people who have lost their sight because the cornea has become opaque due to burns or due to infection or something like that, for them an eye donated cornea is priceless, because it replaces that diseased cornea and you replace it with a clear cornea, and they start seeing, and it's very good. Some other places like injuries, chemical injuries, we do use other parts of the eye like sclera and all, but some people come to us with permanent blindness and they say that okay, ani aa akhi aankh kaadi nakho and biji akhi aankh nakhi do. So unfortunately that is still not possible to do. So people who have blindness because of corneal problems, kikina rogona lidhe jetla problems che, એ solve થઈ શકે છે eye donation થી, પણ આખી ને આખી આંખ ના બદલાય.
Any specific period for eye donation after the death, and within a certain period it should be donated?
Yes, the ideal period is within 4 hours you should remove the eyeball. That is the ideal period after the death, that the eyeball should be removed. But if the persons cannot reach or anything like that, then we just tell the relatives that because it's going to take a little bit longer to come or whatever it is, you can wrap up ice cubes in a cloth and just put it over closed eye, not open eye, over closed eye, and in that case, till even 6 to 8 hours, we can take the cornea. Now, implanting it implanting it into the other eye, we would like to do it as fast as we can. So all the people that we have on the list, we tell them कि जारे हमें call करिए तो हमें तरत आ जाओ operation माटे. But nowadays we have excellent medium for preserving the cornea. So we cut out the cornea and we preserve it in a medium, and we can use it up to even 7 days, or in some of the medium now even up till 1 month we can use. But having said all this, we would like to do it as soon as it's possible.
Last very good question about the eye donation. Sir, as you know, this talk is going on in the Gujarat, where everybody wishes to enjoy the fantastic sevso to gatia to jalebi to everything. And diabetes is basically, it's a pride for, because the people, those who have money, they have to suffer from diabetes. Now this kind of disease, diabetes is there, BP is there, or any other critical disease is there. Then in this case, we should donate the eye or not? Is there any effect?
Diabetes is not an absolute contraindication for donating eyes. You can. Diabetic, hypertensive, all these people can donate eyes. There are some specific criteria where we do not take an eye donation, where the cause of death is not known. Some dangerous viruses, if the death has been caused by those viruses which can go into the tissues, then in those cases we do not take the eye donation from those people. Then there are some who have extensive cancers that can spread through blood and all. Those people also we do not take eye donations. So there are only these diabetics. If the diabetic has a good cornea with a good endothelial cell count, we do take eye donation from that. Having said all this, even in all these cases, if the person wants to donate an eye, we do take it, because therapeutic use is one way. That means for helping in blindness and all, that is one use of these eyeballs. There are many other uses for which the eyeball can be used. The commonest, and if I can mention one that comes to my mind straight away, it is for research purposes. A lot of study of the structure of the eyeball, of the diseases of the eyeball, can be done from eyeballs which have been removed from the eye. Some of the drugs testing of the techniques, training for the testing of techniques, all these can be done on eyeballs which cannot actually be implanted in anyone else's eyes. So an eye donation never really goes waste. It is either used for this purpose or it can be used for any other purpose.
Okay. Anything else from any participant side you want to ask the question, or please ask the question? Yeah, Dr. Sir, Dr. Vidyasagar.
Yes, Nimil bhai, thank you very much. And Dr. Kadam, thank you very much for giving such time for blood this eye donation also. And we have to do much more for this. We have to aware the people.
Definitely. One of the biggest problem of the lockdowns was that eye donations could not be taken. So the list of recipients is increasing, but we are not getting any eyeballs during this whole lockdown.
Yeah, it's a very difficult time.
And it's become very good. It's become very bad. But one good thing that I think the Eye Bank Association of India has done in the recent time is
but
that they
I
have
think
created
it's not
a
enough.
network all over India.
Yeah, but the efforts they are doing is not enough. We must do it
That's
at the
not the efforts of the Eye Bank Association. That is the efforts of the general public that has to be done.
Yeah, so
One
that's why
good thing I will tell you about Gujarat is that Gujarat has always been near the top in the eye donation rate throughout
it's
the
a
country.
top, but it's not enough.
So it's not enough. We need much more. We do need much more.
Yeah,
That's true.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Last but not least, before you ask any question, I think there are two people, Mr. Meena is there and other people. We are talking about the beautiful life which is gifted by God. So at the same time, we want to click the golden memory of all of you. So may I humble request to all of you to please switch on your video part. During this session only, I will start to take the snapshot. જેટલું સ્માઇલ કન્ટિન્યુઅસ રહેશે, પ્લાસ્ટિક હોય ઓરિજિનલ હોય, એટલા ફોટામાં જોરદાર આવશો. Thank you. Please ask the question. Anybody, please, Mr. Meena.
Yeah, hello, good evening you all. I just want to ask one question like अभी के टाइम में सबसे ज्यादा we people use mobile and computers और I are the like best natural gift we can say. So आपकी तरफ से ऐसी एडवाइस जो कि लॉन्ग टर्म भी हो, नेचुरल भी हो, जिसके थ्रू हम अपनी आई को मतलब जो नंबर है उसको ज्यादा बढ़ने से भी रोक सके और अच्छे से टेक केयर कर सके हेल्थ लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए. कैन यू प्लीज?
आई थिंक हमने काफी उसके बारे में बात किया था कि आंख को बहुत कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. द आई इज फाइन बाय इटसेल्फ. भगवान ने सारी मैकेनिज्म्स अंदर दिए उसको क्लीन करने को, उसको हेल्दी रखने को. हमें सबसे बड़ी बात यही करनी है कि उसको बिगाड़ना नहीं है. तो कुछ और मत करो, कुछ और अंदर मत डालो उसको बिगाड़ने के लिए, एंड इट विल रिमेन फाइन. बाकी जो मैंने कहा था कि स्क्रीन टाइम को लिमिट करना है, उसको कंट्रोल करना है, बीच बीच में आंखों को रेस्ट देना है, ये सब चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो लॉन्ग टर्म काम करने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म बिना किसी रेस्ट लिए काम करने में डेफिनेटली इश्यूज है. So that is what we have to take care of.
Thanks. In addition to doctor in the lighter mode, can I share one thing? During this kind of talk show, when you know this kind of talk show is organized, better will join with your wife. Everything will be taken care other apart, because your wife is also hearing. Same thing for me right now. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, please next question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kadam, for such a nice presentation and knowledge sharing. જસ્ટ એ પૂછ્યું હતું કે આંખ ડ્રાય થઈ હોય તો કેટલી ડ્રાયનેસ છે એ માપવા માટે શું આવે છે અને what is the right level of the dryness?
See, dry eye is actually a very complex topic. It is not one thing. પણ જો આપણે નોર્મલ જે ડ્રાય આઈ કહીએ ને કે આંખ સુકાઈ રહી છે ને કંઈક આરામ કરવું છે, તો આજે lubricating drops છે, lot of them are available. Different companies are, every company in fact has come up with a lubricating eye drop. So you can use, say, teardrops, refresh tears, eco tears, all these are different companies which have brought up with these drops, and these drops can be used safely by anyone without any problem, કારણ કે એમાં કોઈ drug નથી હોતો જેનો side effect થશે. Simply it's a polymer જેનાથી આંખ wet રહે છે and it will prevent dryness in your eye. But if you are having a problem of dry eye, એટલે severe dry eye, moderate to severe dry eye હોય છે, so then you have to consult a doctor, and depending on what is required, juda type na dry eye છે અને દરેક dry eye નો there are some slight formulations જે થોડા different હોય છે, and that would help you. So general dry eye માટે you use any of this, refresh tears, teardrops, eco tears, Zayak, you name it, it would be fine. But if you have a specific or a long standing problem of dry eye, then the doctor should decide which one you should.
કોઈ બી ડ્રોપ લાંબા ટાઈમ સુધી યુઝ કરીએ તો કોઈ પ્રોબ્લેમ નથી?
કોઈ પ્રોબ્લેમ નથી. there is no drug inside it. તમને સાઇડ ઇફેક્ટ નહીં થાય, કઈ નહીં થાય. in fact it is very good. Even I keep the drops near me whenever I am working for a long time on a laptop, and in between you keep one drop in your eye and you are fine, and your eyes are also feeling good.
And if I am using Occurest AH for a longer time, will there be any issue?
Occurest AH is not a lubricating eye drop. Occurest AH basically is a decongestant eye drop, which means કે આંખ જો લાલ થઈ ગઈ હોય અને તમારા બ્લડ વેસલ્સ ને ખાલી કોન્ટ્રાક્ટ કરે છે. It is only a symptomatic drop. It is not a curative drop. So I would not advise you to keep putting Occurest AH for a long period of time. It has an anti-allergic part. So allergy હોય તો એ નાખવાનું, પણ don't keep putting for a long time.
Thank you very much.
Any next question? Or we should move on towards the now closing the today's talk. Any question is there, please? Yeah. I think it's let's now move forward for the closing the session of question and answer. Over to the chairman, Deepak Bhai. Thank you. Before that, thank you, Dr. Kadam. Whatever we heard about you, that you are the person who can say encyclopedia regarding the eye issues, because generation to generation you are connected with this eye medicine side, all the things. Thank you. Yeah, Chairman Deepak Bhai.
It was a wonderful talk by Dr. Ranjit Kadam, and in 1 hour he basically covered the entire technology and gave a lot of tips and these tips were supported by the lot of technical explanation so that it remains at the back of our mind. હું જ્યારે નાનો હતો ને ત્યારે મારા પપ્પા કહેતા હતા if you read with a lot of concentration ચશ્માનો નંબર આવે અને ડાપડિયા મારીને જુઓ અને વાંચો તો ચશ્માનો નંબર ના આવે. મને આજે સમજાય કે rule of 20, that after 20 minutes of reading you take a gap of 20 seconds and look at the things which is quite away, at least 20 feet away. So that rule of 20, I really liked it. He covered topics very nicely, and at this point I noticed the presence of Mr. Chetan Shah, who is basically a IT head of entire L&T Technology Services, Samir Bhai Pandya, who is taking care of the entire KJIT, Jivraj Bhai, who is basically from SUMIT Bharuch, then Rushikesh Joshi, he is basically from taking care of the beam and the entire engineering services of Tata Group of Company. Mridul Chauhan, he is basically from Ingram, he is from Bombay, he is basically there. Ramkesh Meena, who is a technocrat and he is basically from CSI and IIT and he is from ONGC. Dinesh Patel, who is our speaker for next lecture before 15th August. We decided that we should have a lecture on patriotism. So Dinesh Patel is an ex-Air Force person and very good orator. So we are going to have his talk on 14th August and we'll circulate the detail of that talk maybe in a day or two. We have Mr. Hitendra Mandalia, who is basically a well-known industrialist of GIDC Bakarpura, and Jagdish Bhai Shukla, Dr. Preksha is there. So we'll have a very balanced and very good audience. This is the 1001st lecture of Baroda Management Association Friday evening talk, and it is a great achievement that in last 20 years or probably more than 20 years they have organized a Friday evening talk without missing a day. And there are some days which are missed when it has rained very heavily in Baroda. People can't reach to the BMA. Lectures are organized but cannot be done. So there are very few occasions, or there is a Diwali on the day of Friday. So there are very few occasions where we have missed the talk on Friday. Otherwise, you always look for. So the people who have come today to come and attend and spend 1 hour in the evening, thank you very much for being with us. Baroda Management Association expect the same kind of response from you on every Friday, and we ensure that we will come with an excellent topic which can really enrich your knowledge. Over to our Secretary, Nivil Bhai Bakshi.
Thank you, Deepak Bhai. Last but not least, hope so everybody is getting the perfect information from Baroda Management Association. If you are not receiving the information in time, please let us know. You can just refer our website regularly and put out any mail or any communication with the Secretariat. We will add your contact number because the marathon program is coming on, and whatever you use about the Friday evening talk, somebody is thinking that yes, can you organize this Friday evening talk? You can suggest the speaker, anything, because we have identified the total 9 area where we will cover all the areas of, including the like patriotism is there, Navratri is there, so theme-based program is there, technology is there, medicine is there, everything will be there. At last, thanks a lot once all. Please, and my humble request to everybody, now we will raise the national anthem. If possible, you can stand at it from your place to respect the national anthem. Let us start. Jana Gana Mana Adinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravid Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Utkal Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे Thank you everybody. Thanks a lot. See you next Friday when we talk.
Thank you. So, when?
Yeah.